Dear all, welcome back to our channel. As we are doing AWS certification series for various roles, uh, last two videos we discussed about for the different roles. One video we created for that architect role, and another video we have created for analytics role, which is data engineer. And this video we are going to discuss about for the development role. Okay, the role name which is already mentioned, software development engineer. So in this video, what we need to discuss about what are the certification has to be covered as part of this role, and what is the uh, process in order to get into this development role. Okay. So how many certification we are going to cover, and what are the documentation, what are the courses, what are the services which is covered as part of this in order to become an AWS development engineer. Okay. So now when we talk about the certification, right? So all the data which is taken from the AWS, which is recommended by from the official websites. So these are the certification as part of this development engineer. So there are three certification has to be covered for this in order to become an AWS certified development engineer. So the series which is already provided, first one would be for the cloud practitioner, and the next one would be for the development associate, and third one would be for the development engineer, DevOps engineer professional. Okay, so these are the three certifications. Now I think you can also add one more certification if you once you have done maybe for the security specialty, because security is always will be the main concern. Just you can add it accordingly once you have done this path. So I think for this development role, what actually the roles and responsibilities for this development AWS certified developer, it's kind of develop, construct, and maintain the software across platforms and devices. Okay, so how the particular developer is going to write uh, development activities by using AWS services in order to build an applications. Okay, so this is how they're going to do. For that, what are the services we are going to use? How they are going to use, and what are the importance for those services, which is covered by everything would be with respect to these three certifications. So first certification would be for the fundamental one. I think this is the optional one, which is already discussed. And if you want to, the person who is going to start freshly, I would suggest, if in order to understand what is cloud computing, what are the services there. So better to go ahead and do the things for this. Start with foundational. So the person who's already having 1 or 2 years experience, just they can ignore it, then go for the next one, associate level, then go for the professional one. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So please follow accordingly so that you can have some clear idea, clear understanding. So how to start for this certification path. So once you have done this, maybe you can familiarize with those services. What are the services they are going to use, and how it is going to use as part of this real use cases for the industry use cases, right? So along with maybe I can give you some of the tips, like, okay, so when you are preparing for this examination or preparing for your um, specific roles, so always recommend that, okay, you go ahead and do some kind of practice. There are documentation which I already provided for each and every series, and also I will provide for this video also. So what are the documentation where you need to follow these labs and exercises and workshops for the practices, right? So there are plenty of sources which is available, so you can refer it and you can do it from your own. Also from your perspective, once you have done basically when once you are comfortable with these services, right? So for the with respect to 2 or 3 certification which you have done, so what you will get some kind of better understanding about how the system cloud services is working, along with what are the services for which purpose, so how they're going to use for the industry use cases. Okay, there are many services which is out in that for each cloud services, right? So maybe you can when you're going through for this certification, or maybe for studying those services, you can realize to understand that it's okay. So which services is used for which use cases. you can really understand accordingly and you can do that. So I think it will be coming on the way. So maybe for your when you are doing for this exercises, or for that when you are going to solve some kind of use cases, you will get more understanding and also you will get more ideas to how to use those services. And also you can think a different way, like, so what we'll do when we are using these services, what kind of experience we will be getting it, and also what are the best and for the optimal services for different use cases. So you need to think in a different perspective in order to use those services. Okay. So as I told earlier, so there are different variety of services are there. It is very vast. So you need to study a lot for in order to understand those things and for use those services for different various use cases. Okay. So I hope you are clear now. So what is the development kind of role? What are the certification path? So how many certification you have to cover as part of this development role? Then we move on to the documentation and for the courses which you are going to follow. So let me go to that. So the steps would be which I already given. So the digital course you can refer from Udemy platform. I think there are different platforms here there, because I am just suggesting so whichever I used. Okay, so which I used, and also I feel it is comfortable maybe for the um, adaptable for each and every one. So maybe you can go ahead and use that. In case if you are not afford it, then you can use your own, maybe whichever the sources, whichever the documentations, wherever the digital course you would like to. Okay. I think for the digital course, maybe I can suggest you for the Udemy platform. There are many authors are there. I suggest for two authors. One is for Stephane Maarek and Neal Davis. And for the labs, I think always I prefer for that AWS Free Tier. There are 1 year validity. You can use the services, and when you are using those services, you just go through that recommendation before going to that using those services. Whenever if you use that console, you will understand. So they'll be putting everything as a note point. So if you are going to use that, you will get a building those things. I think maybe it will be useful. Anyhow, even though when you are try to use those services, you will come to know all those things. So that is one point. The next thing is, when if you want to do expansion, then you can go for different third means other vendors like Whizlabs, Cloud Academy, and etc. Plural site. There are many things are there in the market. So these are all paid versions. So if you want to learn really, you want to solve more use cases, you want to solve more business problems, then more practical practices, then you have to do many problems. You have to do solve many problems. So as long as you will do for the exercises, right? So for the practical exercise, you will get more idea, more understanding, more knowledge. This is I'm sure. Okay. So the next thing would be for the practice test course. I think this would be there are different authors like I told you, Stephen Marek, Neal Davis, Jon Bonso. I think they are providing for that from the Udemy course. They'll be providing for this practical exams, practice test series. You can go ahead and purchase and you can practice it. So I would recommend, if you want to take an exam or if you want to take an official exam, then I would recommend to do that practice exam first, then go for the exam, so that you will get some idea. So what kind of questions, means what the kind of questions, maybe how the format would be. So you will get some kind of idea. So you will also get some exposure. So how to maintain timelines and what type of questions they will ask in as part of this examination. Anyhow, this practice question won't come. Everything would be new. I think you will get some understanding. So maybe okay, this type of question will come into the means a real exam. So you know that process and as well as for the procedure. Okay, I think for these are the preparations, and then you go for that another official documentation which you are going to go through. So as I told you earlier, in this video, in this role, we have three certifications. One is for practitioner and another is for uh, associate level one, and for the DevOps engineer professional. Okay, architect associate and DevOps engineer professional. Okay, for that I have given that three links here. You see official documentation, 3 links which I put: practitioner, associate, professional, DevOps engineer, professional. So these links would be for the syllabus. Okay, you just get into this, go to this any one of the URL. Let me take this and go here. You see, uh, this is for a sample one which I took, AWS Certified DevOps Engineer Professional. You see here, first first thing is that you first go through this one. Okay, whenever if you want to do the things, you need to go through these steps. So what this certification all about? So what is going to study as part of this certification? What is the overview? Who should can take this exam? Okay, everything would be there. And you see here, download the exam guide. Okay, so this is what I told you. Download this. You can understand here each and everything. So what are the syllabus as part of this? So you see, maybe for the step-by-step process and what are the services has to be covered as part of this. This is what I told you earlier itself when I'm starting this series, right? So when somebody going to start a career, or maybe they're going to start a cloud computing, right? So they don't know where to start, because it is not a simple domain like, okay, so you go ahead and learn for these particular things and you can done with the computing, cloud computing. It's not like that. So it is a very vast. Okay, so it is a big thing. So what you need to do, because there are multiple paths are there for in order to pursue, right? So for the reason only, the people will be new to this platform, or maybe they are going to study freshly, or maybe they are going to start the cloud computing. They don't know where to start. Okay, for that reason only, respective cloud vendors, they created a curriculum. Okay, so if you want to become in a particular roles, you have to follow this procedure. If you want to pursue some of the roles, specific roles, you have to follow this process. You have to follow this ways. You have to follow this series. Okay, then only you will be covering all those concepts which is provided, and for to become in a particular roles. Okay, so that is the reason I already told. Okay, so just they have prepared already for this curriculum with respect to different roles. You want to become in a particular architect, developer, data engineer, or maybe DevOps engineer, then there is the way to start, right? So that is how you need to start with that and go ahead and learn that. So for that, maybe that is the reason. If you go to that page, each and every certification we have this page, curriculum guide. So if you go ahead and download it, first you need to go through. So understand. Okay, so what are the things they have asked? So what are the in scope services, out of scope services? What are the services is has to be covered, and each and everything will come to know. Okay. So that is how the things, first thing. The next one would be for this AWS documentation. Okay. Similarly, this is for the documentation. I'll just show you. You go here, okay, which I am telling those things for every series of these videos. You just go through, because official documentation would be the best documentation for in order to prepare something, in order to master it something, right? For any services or any chapter you want to do. Okay, so because they have provided each and everything from start top to bottom, and I would recommend for AWS documentation from scratch to each and everything they explained very clearly. So just to go through that. Okay, similarly for the skill builder, and I already for the facts, AWS fact, white papers, okay, and AWS forums, AWS workshops. Okay, so just these are the main documentation, official documentation which I covered, which I taken from that each and every certifications. I think you can go ahead and when you're getting to that particular website for with a particular documentation, you read whatever relevant to that. Okay, whatever relevant to that particular certification. I think maybe you can understand. I hope you have understand all those things. This is how you need to follow. Okay, so once you have done this, maybe you have much familiar with all those services with respect to different services covered for that particular uh, certifications, and also for what are the recommendation which is provided by AWS. maybe any of all those exam guide you have referred it, and also you have studied it for the services. Now, once you have done everything and also studied documentation, you have done the labs, you have done so many practices. Okay, once you have done, or finally you go ahead and take some practice exam. Once you have done everything, then if you want to take exam, then you go ahead and uh, enter into that. Go to this link, and you can log in with your AWS account for the builder ID. Then you can get into this certification path page. Then you register for your exam. Okay. So this is how I think pretty much covered for this development engineer role. I think if you have any concern for this with respect to this role, or if you need some more information with respect to what are the documents, any kind of resources you want to follow, or extra resources you want to, if you want to read, you can always reach out to me. Maybe I can give some more guidance also for if you want more labs also for more exercises with respect to practical, then you can also reach out to me. Maybe I can help you out. Okay. So I hope you are pretty much clear now. So go ahead and learn the things and try to give for the next exam. Um, all the very best luck for your examination. If you are already following this channel, so then you can keep watching that. And if you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and share so that whenever I upload this kind of video, it will get into the and on time. Okay. So all the very best. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you all.